Over the next few weeks, we're going to be doing a mini series over releases. Release hand, execution, setting them up, different ways that they can be harming your shot or how they can help your shot. In today's video, we're going to be going over setting them up correctly and being able to have a smoother, steadier float and also help you prevent target panic. So the symptoms popping up, helping you have a solution to the problem before it happens type of situation. When it comes to setting up releases correctly, the first thing that I like to do with everybody is go over how you're holding that release in your hand. This will help you a ton with not having excess hand tension, but also just with repeatability. We can change the way our draw length, our loop length, all of that form and fitment that we work on, we can change how that feels by a ton if we vary how we hold these releases from one shot to the next. So let me go over two different things that you need to keep attention with. Kind of put this into your pre-shot routine, what you're doing with it when you pick the release up, get it clipped onto the release, and making sure that you're repeating every single time. The first one is just how we're holding the release. This isn't anything new, but I do want to cover it here just in case. Having this with relatively flat on your backhand and in this mid row of knuckles here. So we don't want it crammed in really deep like this because we'll start creating a fist. That's going to be harder to find a good anchor point on our face because we won't be able to actually anchor with our hand and our arm back in the correct spot for our rear shoulder. But it also just creates a lot of excess tension. It makes actually using the release incredibly difficult. We also don't want it way out on our fingertips. You have the potential rather to let go of the release, have something bad happen. But also you're just gonna have excess tension in the hand because you're gonna have to be squeezing onto that release really hard. Having this J hook on here and in this mid row, you can basically hold this with less excess tension in the hand itself and allow you to be able to use these releases in a multitude of different ways. The next thing that I like to look at on these is finger pressures itself and what I refer to as the rocker position. So rocker position meaning that more to the index, more to the outer finger. So if we hold this release and we're really crammed down on the index, you can see it rocks up here. But if a next shot we're really crammed down on these outer fingers, it rotates it a completely opposite way. Here's the easiest way to do this. With a thumb button release and a resistance release, it's super simple. Balance the force between your index and your middle finger when you're at full draw. You can feel this really well when you're drawing the bow back. Also, when you get into full draw, you can feel it as well. We don't want excess tension on these outer fingers. We just want to think of the index and the middle finger and let them balance out between the release, and these outer fingers are just along for the ride. At that point, that is incredibly easy to repeat from one shot to the next because we're not having to worry about excess rolling this way or that way. It just makes the process a ton simpler. On a hinge release, it's a little bit different. The hinge release, because it's going to have to rock and rotate while we're shooting, you are going to have some more pressure on the index, but we don't want to set these hinge releases up so hot that you're afraid it's going to fire while you draw it back. We want to have a decently relaxed index and let this release kind of melt and bend into our hand as we draw it back. And we can get into anchor and we can just allow these outer fingers to mold into the release, let the thumb come off the thumb peg. If you're using a click, that and the pressure you build up at full draw will get you there. If you're not, that's a consistent starting point for you to get to when you're not using a click. So that'll keep your hand in generally the closest position from one shot to the next. It's also going to make it easier to use these hinge releases and allow that rotation to happen later on when we get into shot execution. All right, so getting into the execution side, this is the part that's going to incredibly help you prevent target panic in the future and help you hold steadier all the way through your shot execution. So doing this the correct way will set you up for success. Doing it incorrect will create immediate and future problems for you to run into as well. So when I'm looking at shot execution, I am taking this from an idea of what is the focus point for the execution. For most people, their execution in their shot in regards to your release and everything Your goal is to just get the shot to fire. You want the arrow to leave the bow, you want it to hit the target, you want to score well, you want to try to fire the shot. If we use that as a focus point, a lot of the times people are going to rush that. They're not going to think through what they're doing really well, and the only goal they have is just get the release to let go of the string. I personally don't feel like this is the best way for 99.9% of people in the world to shoot a bow. It's going to create an issue where you can have target panic immediately and definitely in the future, because we're going to start rushing, we're going to start timing it, we're going to start getting jumpy and antsy with our shot execution itself. But if we slow things down and we use our focus point to maintain our form and see how long we can float around the middle until the shot breaks, then that completely changes the way that we are shooting our bow. If we are focusing on just letting our sight pin or our dot float around the middle, whatever that looks like for you, it does a couple things. One, subconsciously, it's going to calm you down, because we're not then focused on, I have to get this shot to fire, I have to be able to get this arrow released, whatever it may be. We're just focusing on watching our aim. It's almost becoming a spectator sport at that point. But it also helps us be able to slow the process down to where then we're not taking fast movements that create quick or jumpy or weird sight pictures, in creating just whatever float we have and a little bit of an expansion to where we are creating extra tension in the body to slow us down. It'll make your float smaller, it'll have it more directed towards the middle, it won't stop, but it'll keep moving around. The byproduct of this is, because we are slowing things down and because we are focusing on the movement and watching it, our subconscious then can learn the float patterns and our shot patterns. So it can take what it's seeing, everybody's pattern is unique to you, and it can learn that and learn that the pressure that is needed to get the release to fire, whether it's a thumb button, a resistance release, or a hinge release, and mold all that together. And as long as we can stay out of its way, then it will allow us to be able to hit the middle more often. Doing this is going to alleviate a ton of potential for target panic later on down the road, because if you're focusing on just the aim and just the float in the sight picture, then we are not focusing on firing the shot. Now, in the long run, what you need to do is start dissecting your form and your fitment, draw length, loop height, bars, and a ton of other stuff, and perfecting those, so then you can get a float picture that you are happy with. Shrinking in size, being a little bit more predictable, whatever that may be for you. But in a short, looking at just release hand and execution style with what we're talking about today, this is going to help you a ton going forward. Going forward over the next couple weeks, I'm going to have some additional videos out with release execution to break things down now and help you perfect them and make your float better, make your execution smoother and easier for you, and help you hopefully cure some hiccups and headaches that you have. In the members video this week, we're going to be looking at resistance releases, using them as training tools, but also fine-tuning things if you would like to use them for accuracy standpoints as well. There's a couple different ways that you can set these up and different ways to use them, but it's really good at picking out parts of your form that aren't exactly as good as they could be for you and helping direct what you need to do with your training program. So if you're interested in that, down below in the description of this video is a link that shows you 2 different packages. You can have access to just the extra videos that we do each week, or access to those videos and coaching with myself as well to be able to help you out, fine-tune something on your own, or a little bit of help with me as well. Thank y'all for watching this video today. I'll see you soon.